Welcome to the Win, Make, Give podcast. This is Chad Himes, and I'm joined today by David Nurse, and that gets to be my sidekick today. So, hey, David, welcome back to the podcast.
Chad, I appreciate you having me back on, man.
You know, this one's going to be so much better because we dropped Bob.
Agreed.
So, you know, we had such a great time on the last one, and we know you had so much more, and even Bob wanted to hear about those 7 steps for Unshakable Confidence, yet his schedule, something conflicted, and he just wasn't able to join us. So we'll just make fun of Bob throughout this one. I'll tell you how bad his shot really is. All those things we didn't get into. Yet welcome back. So ladies and gentlemen, if you did not listen to the episode that we did with David already, David, give us that introduction to you so they know who you are if this is where they're starting.
Yeah, I'm an NBA life optimization coach. And what that means is I pour into NBA players. I help them become better, not only in their craft on court, but also in their sleep, their nutrition, their total optimization. And the biggest piece that we all can take away is a mindset development.
Yeah, and we talked a lot on our last episode with you about, you said that the 5 most important things for optimization were sleep, nutrition, and then their mindset. And we talked about that. So folks, go back and listen to that episode, because if you can increase just 1% every single day by implementing any of the things we talked about, you're going to find some great power. Also, David's book, Pivot and Go, you can get it on Amazon or anywhere that you get books. Check it out. It is a great 29-day blueprint to redefine and achieve your success, as I read off the cover of the book here. And I can't wait to really dive in and read it. Yeah, David, what came up on our last conversation was we went through some of these blueprints. We actually dove into one of them in the book. We talked about that 1% mentality that you talk about. We talked about pivoting, which has become, the catchphrase or catchword, I guess, of 2020. Everybody's had to pivot and pivot and pivot. Yet it came up in our conversation that you also talk about something called the 7 steps for Unshakable Confidence. And that just sounds damn cool, right? I'll just PG version that one, but that just sounds damn cool. So let's dive into that one. Do you want to give us all 7 and then go back and break them down, or do we want to just tease them out one at a time and talk about each one as we go?
Yeah, let's tease them out. I think we tease them out. We'll go one at a time. And I want to start off by saying that you talked about like sleep, nutrition, mindset, but it's all a sandwich. It starts with mindset, and then the sleep and nutrition and training are in there, and it's covered with mindset. And the foundation for developing the mindset is this unshakable confidence.
Well, our audience members are mindset people. They always want to grow their mindset. They want a stronger mindset. They might argue on the sleep and say, I can get by on 4 hours. You and I know better. Yet they're saying that they can do it. Or they might say, forget that nutrition stuff. I'm going to eat from, restaurants where I order from a clown and pick it up at a window and all that kind of stuff. If that's what they really want to do. Yet I know that overall, hopefully they're taking the health tips, but I know they're definitely going to take these mindset tips and strengths. So let's get into it, folks. This whole episode is going to be a list. So I love my lists. I don't have Bob here for my list sound effect, yet we love lists on the Win, Make, Give podcast, and we'll recap all 7 steps for you at the end. We're going to go slowly through this list, so stay with us as we talk about the 7 steps. So David, what is step number 1 for unshakable confidence?
Yes. And before we get to step number 1, I need to set the foundation of it all. So you build up these lists on this foundation of self-awareness. And I've preached the confidence gospel to my NBA players for years and years, and I've seen it take them from average players to future Hall of Famers just on confidence alone. And I know we all have the confidence based on results, based on a resume that we can look at, but that's just the tip of the iceberg of what true confidence is. And understanding that true confidence is about self-awareness. Self-awareness confidence is the foundation of everything, meaning what are you doing what you do for? Are you doing it only for your own personal gain, or are you standing for so much more? So even with these NBA players like Jeremy Lin, for example, is a player that I've worked a lot with. And when he was going through Linsanity, that crazy time in the NBA where he was just dominating, taking over the world, the number 1 trending thing in the world, he was living more in the what ifs, what if he can't keep this up, what will people think of him type of thing, instead of the true self-awareness of understanding that, hey, he stands for so much more. He stands for his people of Taiwan. He stands for his faith in Jesus, and he stands for much more than just basketball. So that being said, our foundation is in self-awareness.
And we did a whole thing on emotional intelligence. Folks, you can go to winmakegive.com, check out our series that are there. We have an emotional intelligence series where Ben talks a lot about self-awareness. So if you're sitting there going, I don't even know what David means with self-awareness, go back and check out our episode. Again, winmakegive.com. And then you can search all of our series, and one of them is on emotional intelligence, where self-aware is obviously one of the keys to emotional intelligence. So it's the foundation for everything. We have to be aware. We have to be very self-aware. Okay, take it from there, David.
All right. The first step is confidence through comparison. And I know that might sound kind of like, hey, comparison, isn't that a bad thing? Yes, if it's like the Instagram type of comparing someone to the amount of likes you're getting, that type of stuff. But confidence through comparison, it is basically the epitome of what Kobe did to Jordan. He watched him. He studied him. He learned his game. He literally was down to the same way that Jordan would answer questions. Kobe would do the same. But he got this confidence out of comparing himself to the best, understanding that the path has already been paved. Somebody somewhere is doing something that you want to do. Now you got to find out who that is. You got to find out what that person is doing and what they did to get there. But there's a lot of confidence that can be gained in understanding that it's been done before. You can do it as well. There's no reason that you can't do it if you compare yourself to that person and take the necessary steps to get there.
Okay, so we're not comparing in the sense of, oh my gosh, they have bigger muscles than me. They're faster than me. They're taller than me. Oh, they're prettier than me. They've got more likes and more friends than I do. That's not comparison that we're talking about here. That's a negative mindset when it comes to all of that. You're talking about finding that mentor, finding that person who's walked that path ahead of us, and now watching them, studying them, modeling them, mirroring them, so that we can walk in their footsteps. You know, David, I grew up in Toronto. I mentioned that in the last episode. That was home to me. And I've always joked with people that, you know, whenever the snow got below your knee in Toronto, what that meant was it was summertime, right? Yet we had to, and most parents would tell the story about walking uphill to school both ways, right? That's the old story that dads always tell. We used to have to walk to school, and we would always say, the smart kids, you would walk in the footprints of the other kids who are already dealing with walking through the snow. So that's what you're talking about. It's someone's already done the hard work. Follow their path until you've caught up to them. Then you might have to find somebody new. How do you go about doing that? Like, how do you find that person? I mean, boy, Ben Kinney, the founder of Win Make Give, a lot of people are like, I want to be like Ben. I want to have Ben's results. I want to have Ben's success. He's so far ahead, though. That would be like me. I'm not a good basketball player saying I want to be like Michael Jordan. It's never going to happen. How do we pick the right person to compare ourselves to?
You pick the person that you can envision yourself being. If you can paint the perfect picture of what you want to do, who you want to be, it is this person. Now you're going to be different than them, and that's great. There's no one person is the same. But like for myself, I decided after I was done playing, I wanted to become the best shooting coach possible. So I figured, who is the best shooting coach there is in the NBA? I'm going to emulate everything that he does, and I'm going to find a way to get in touch with him and learn from him. Literally, like you said, making him your mentor. And I was able to do that with the San Antonio Spurs Chip England shooting coach. And even now, as I continue transition more into motivational speaking worldwide and the whole writing books and author game I made John Gordon someone who I compared myself with. And I made him my mentor. And now me and him, we play tennis every other day and we hang out all the time. It's just, you really find that person that you can see yourself being like, and then figure out, hey, how can I get in touch with them? How can I learn from them? And knowing that it took them a long time to get there, it's going to take you a long time to get there. And that's okay. You have to do the reps before you get to see the fruit that it produces.
Got it. So you are hereby warned, David, at the end of this recording, there is a chance you might get stalked by me. All right. You've been warned then. You might be one of those people who is now on my list of people that I'm going to develop confidence through comparison. I might not have your jump shot, but we'll talk about the other stuff. All right. So that's number one, confidence through comparison. What's number two?
Number two is confidence through strength focus. Now, most of us are told that we are our weaknesses and we have to improve our weaknesses. But weaknesses are just what I call a compliments wish list. We all have different strengths and weaknesses for a reason that we can piece them together to make this ultimate team. So we have a strength, and I'm a big believer that we all have a God-given ability, a strength that we can use to make others better around us as well. And we focus on the strength. Make your strength better. As like in the NBA, if you're good at every area, you're not playing in the NBA. But if you're great in one area, you can have a long, long career. And a great example of that is a guy who I grew up with in small town Pella, Iowa, Kyle Korver. Now, Kyle in high school, he wanted to do everything. He wanted to be a ball handler, create plays, be a defensive stop, like all of it. And he was okay, and he didn't really get any college recruiting. He got one spot that recruited him as Creighton, and he took it. And when he was there, he realized, you know what? I'm a great shooter. This is what I need to do better than anybody else in the world, and I can play in the NBA. And him and LeBron are like the oldest players playing in the NBA. That he's 39 now, and he's just literally made a career on shooting threes, being a great three-point shooter. But if he would have focused on everything else and put his energy into becoming a ball handler, now I've done workouts with him, and he would have tested this too, that I mean, he's dribbling off his feet half the time if he's putting the ball on the floor. But when it comes to shooting, there's nobody better.
Okay, so I love this so far. Right. I tell people all the time, it's focus on your strength, develop your strengths, leverage your weaknesses. Right. So you're saying confidence comes through that strength focus, and what you're talking about, not muscle. You're talking about what are our strengths. Some of us are great speakers in front of people. Some of us are great with spreadsheets. Some people are great at being organized. Whatever that is, it's leaning in truly and developing your strength.
Yeah, absolutely. And then from there, you can leverage your weaknesses. You can make your weaknesses become assets, but you have to focus on your strengths first.
Okay. So confidence is coming. All right. So number three, confidence through
redefining vocabulary. And what I mean by that is, for example, with a basketball player, every time that I start working with them, I'll ask them, when was your last shooting slump? And I'll see the body language start to go, and I'll forget a couple games ago, I didn't make a shot. I just couldn't hit anything. And then I'll ask them, hey, when was your last shooting hippopotamus? And they'll look at me like, hey, what are you talking about? Crazy? Hippopotamus, what? But what I'm doing there is just showing that word slump is just a word that's built into our subconscious. We all grow up with understanding that certain words mean certain things, like failure or success, slump. Like they don't necessarily have to mean that. That's our decision if we want it to mean that. So it's redefining this vocabulary where it's not based on the actual word, but the actual word being the result, but it's based on the process. So for NBA players that I work with, we never focus on shooting percentages, points per game, or what everybody else says this is the tracking factor. We focus on the process. Literally, one of my players, one of his best things are catch and shoot threes and attacking the hoop downhill in transition. There was literally a span of 15 games straight that he just went through in the playoffs where all his shots, every one of his shots was exactly that. He didn't worry about if they went in or not because he knew if he got those shots, got to those spots over time, like it's going to weigh itself out. He's going to make more of those shots. But it's about understanding that you can redefine this vocabulary, these mental hurdles that keep us down as far as slump or like failure. Like a lot of people hear that word failure and they just be, oh man, I don't want to go through it. I know that's going to suck. But if you can embrace that suck and knowing that failure is not just a way that you learn and grow, it's the only way you learn and grow. Now this redefinition of vocabulary gives you extreme confidence.
Wow. I love that. I mean, we're always talking about the words that are in our own head and what are we saying negatively to ourselves and things like that. So you're talking about redefining that vocabulary. Now, David, not everybody who listens to our podcast here is an NBA player. It'd be great if all the NBA players were smart enough to be listening to your episode here. Yet they're not all NBA players. And heck, I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to guess that at least half of the people are in my category where the NBA is not something we even pay a lot of attention to at all. That's one sport never worked for me, and I didn't have a home team growing up. Give me something redefining that vocabulary outside of the world of NBA. Maybe I want to be a better parent. Maybe I want to be a better salesperson. Maybe I want to be a better spouse or partner or whatever that is. What vocab should I be redefining in that world?
Great question. And all these lessons in confidence apply. Sure, I've used them with NBA players. I also use them with just everyday people. I've used them with CEOs, whoever. These all can apply to you through some type of capacity. And I mean, just simply for a redefine of vocabulary is, do you say things as I have to, or do you say things as I get to? Like right there, that one word of just pivoting that word is, I mean, it can be everything. And failure, we just talked about failure, even success. Like, what does really success mean to you? I mean, is it what everybody else in the world is saying you have to be, or what your parents told you had to be, which is a very, very difficult thing to shake. But what is true success to you? And one of my favorite ones that I redefined for everyone is rich. What does living a rich life mean to you? Does it mean you have a ton of money in your bank account? No, probably not. That's not really where you're going to find your true joy. I mean, you look at Steve Jobs, who had all the money in the world, and he died on his deathbed unhappy. It's what you determine your rich life. Are you rich in your relationship with your kids, with your friends, with your family? And you have the choice to look at these different types of words that we have on a normal basis. Like, do you look at, one thing that I like to talk to people about is struggling, because we all go through struggling situations, and all of us look at like these difficult times. They suck when you struggle through them, but I call it embracing the pit. Like, we go through this area, then we fall into this pit. And if you try to get out of that pit too fast, like, you're just going to be all kinds of just all over the place. But if you embrace the pit, if you embrace the struggle, and you look at this difficult situation as a thing that's going to sharpen you, then you're going to get so much more out of it. And knowing that, hey, this situation that you just went through, guess what? Somebody along the way is going to go through that same exact situation that you just did. Now you can help take them through it too. So not only are these things happening to us, but they're happening through us so that we can help others along the way.
Well, I like that. So these things, and in all areas of life, things aren't always only happening to us. Sometimes they're also happening through us. Really, really like that. So redefining vocabulary, what I'm hearing in there is sometimes it's changing those words, have to get to, right? I have to work out today. No, I get to work out today, right? It's a completely different thing. That means I'm healthy enough to be able to do it and all of that stuff. And it's going to change my mindset. And it also means, sounds like, changing how some words are defined. If I grabbed 5 different people and asked them what rich meant, I should get different definitions, and I can redefine it as to how I believe the word rich should be defined. I don't have to live by your definition.
Absolutely. Spot on.
All right. So let's keep going on the list. Number 4.
Number 4 is confidence through creating your own highlight reel. And what I mean by this is, we've all had that moment in our lives, and whether you're a sports player, whether you're a business person, whatever it is, where you felt literally like you were in the zone. You were so locked in. You were just killing it. You were in that business meeting. You were giving that talk on that phone call, and you were just all kinds of on fire. And we've all had this type of moment. And we can all live in this moment. So recreating that highlight reel on a daily basis. And for my NBA players, they watch their best game or their best clips every morning when they wake up, before they step on the floor for practice, and before they step on the floor for the game. So they're constantly putting it into their subconscious, because our subconscious is so powerful. We talked about the thoughts that you have. We have 50,000 self-talk thoughts per day. 50,000 of us talking to ourselves. 40,000 of those, 80% of those are negative thoughts. Think about that. All those 40,000 negative thoughts floating through your mind. Like, we can live in this highlight reel zone of who we have been at our best, knowing that this can be us, and not that constant self-doubt, that imposter syndrome that the world is trying to tell us that we should be. And we can pivot these thoughts to 80% positive to the 20% negative. But through creating your own highlight reel, like, you can literally sit there, visualize. And I challenge you to do this. When you wake up in the morning, visualize your best day. Visualize like when you just had the most successful sales day you've ever had. See yourself in that moment. Literally see everything around it. See what you ate for breakfast that day or what you wore to the office, whatever it might be. Recreate that highlight reel in yourself daily, on a daily basis. And those habits that you build will compound, and that's where you're actually truly living in that type of self-confidence as opposed to the self-doubt.
So when I'm going back to the last episode, you talked to us about the power of our hands for our mindset. And one of the things you said to do is, especially as early in the day as possible, when we walk by that mirror, was wipe away that fog, right? It was just kind of take your hands and pull them apart from each other and kind of wipe away the fog. I'm almost thinking now I'm going to go to my mirror. I'm going to wipe away the fog on that mirror, and I'm going to have one of those TVs that's built into my mirror that you find in the hotels. And I'm going to let ESPN start playing my highlight reel for me as I kind of wipe that away. That way we're visualizing that on a daily basis.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I'm actually going to take that and start using that now. I've never thought of that, but that's such a good idea. Yes.
All right, I copyrighted it just before this conversation. Just so you know,
all right, 5 cents per time I use it.
We'll talk about it. All right, so it's creating a highlight reel, and that's going to be various things. That's going to be maybe those sales, that business meeting, that time where with my partner, with it, that workout that I crushed. It's going to be that game that I played in, whatever it's going to be. It doesn't have to just be one area of my life. I could have highlights coming from all different areas into my life.
Yeah, you know what? Absolutely. And to go on to that point too, I'm really big on that same thing of living in where you want to be, what your goal is, having a super specific goal as far as like a confidence highlight reel. For myself, I have a picture of myself, my head's cut out and put on there, speaking in front of 100,000 people in a huge arena. Like I see that daily. It's on my fridge. I see it like 10 times a day, knowing that that's who I am. I can be that. That's not an anomaly. That's going to happen. Now, whether it's 100,000 people on Zoom or 100,000 people in person, that should be told. But living in that, hey, this is who I am. This is who I can be. This is who I'm going to be. I'm going to speak this into existence, and I'm going to live in it daily till where it actually becomes the existence. So,
complete bunny trail that just came up here. Do you have a vision board, or do you just have a few things around the house in different places that you've created this is the life I'm going to grow into?
Yeah, I have affirmations scattered throughout my apartment. They're in different places. So when I'm when I'm making coffee, I'll see something, or I'm at my computer, I'll have an affirmation where it's just constantly like, I'm not really like, hey, I'm walking over to this vision board and now I'm studying it, but it's just these subconscious thoughts where I see this, it's put into my mind. So without even having to think about it or be really active in it, it's just kind of built inside me.
That's awesome. So you're not doing, and I love this, and I know a lot of people that listen are doing vision boards and stuff. That's why I bring this up. I've never been personally a vision board creator, but you're doing little things in various places. So you're going to go into the kitchen and you're going to have a quote posted there, and you're going to go into your computer, your work area, and there's going to be a picture of you talking to 100,000 people where it's literally someone else's picture that you just stuck your little face on or something like that. You're going to have these scattered everywhere. So it's always in your face, not only when I go there. And I can avoid going to my vision board if I'm not feeling like I got it.
Yes, exactly. And we talked about in the first episode, the book I wrote, Pivot and Go. What we didn't talk about is at the end of each chapter, I give you these affirmations. I give you these sayings, and I tell you exactly where to put them throughout your environment. Because setting up your success is not just about setting up your whatever your plans are, your dreams are, your goals, but it's also setting up your environment. And it's really powerful to have these things just constantly in your face, these positive things, these encouraging things, but these true. It's not just these up there in the air kind of things that we hope. Like this is, I mean, it's real and it's true, but that way it builds into your subconscious. And it becomes just like basketball, just like anything we do a ton of times, it's muscle memory. And our brains work the same way. It's building that myelin in our brain. That is it going to be that myelin that's, hey, we're negative, we're around negative people, or it's positive, we're life-giving and encouraging type of people.
And I just picked up your book, and because I have it on my desk right now, knowing we were going to talk, and I just randomly opened it, and I came to day 11, which is foggy mirrors. I mean, I couldn't have gone to a better page. And just so everyone understands what David's saying, and first of all, folks, just so you know, the chapter is 1, 2, 3, 4, it's 6 pages, right? I mean, it's not like you're going to be all day. And it's 6 pages. And then I've got this blueprint action plan that you're talking about. And you've got 2 mirrors here. You got a foggy mirror and a clean mirror that I'm supposed to write some things in. And then step 2 of this blueprint action plan says, write down, I believe in the power of me on a note card, and tape it to the mirror you look at first in the morning, and commit to reading that card out loud to your reflection as you start your day. And there are other things that go on the card, but that would get personal as you do your exercises. But there you go. So you've got these 28, as I believe there are, right? 28 of these, because day not 29 is, we've now made it a lifestyle. You've got these 28 things taped up all around your house and in your life.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I live everything that I preach, and I've seen it. That's why I'm so passionate about it, because I've seen what it's done for my own life of being literally I have no special crazy gifts. I'm not like super smart, or I'm not like one of the things with the book, people have told me this compliment. They're like, wow, it's really readable. It's digestible. And it's like, okay, that's a great compliment. But it also means like, hey, you're not some super like great with words type. I'm like, all right, I'll take the compliment. But what I'm saying is like, I've seen it work in my own life as someone that you could look at as just like, you're just average. And I've been able to live the life that I want to live, and even more than I could even have imagined. So I know these things have worked, and I know that anybody can implement them and make them work.
All right, David. So I'll give you another compliment that says then, well, if you can write a book like this, I guess I can finally, right?
Yes.
So there you go. All right. So again, you're on my comparison chart. I'm coming after you when we're done with this podcast. We're going to be talking more regularly. All right. So folks, I hope you're taking some notes on this stuff, because I sure as heck am. And we'll go back and recap the list for you at the end. We're on number 5, though. So I'm going to believe it starts confidence through.
Yes, pouring into others. This is one of the biggest shifts in confidence that people need to make. That it's not about your own personal gain, but it's how you can pour into others. And I like to tell the Steve Nash story. And I talked it briefly in the last podcast that Steve Nash, he's this 6'2" guy, not that athletic. He's a 2-time NBA All-Star.
Careful what you say. You might be working with him soon, and he might listen.
Yeah. I mean, he was my idol growing up because I tried to emulate him. I tried to do the confidence through comparison with him. Never quite got there to the level that he did, but he was always about pouring into others. It wasn't about like his own stats, but it was how he could make everyone else around him better. And he did. He made average players literally get $100 million contracts because he focused on pouring into everyone else around them. And we can all do that. Not only does it take the pressure off ourselves of being like, hey, this is about me. I have to hit this number. I have to get to here. But you make everyone else around you better. It's very, very infectious when you live in this type of pouring into others mentality. And that's when we talked about the hands, the foggy mirror with the hands. These are also the hands that you use, that you say when you step into a room, look at your hands when you open that door and say serve. And it puts you in this pouring into others type of mentality. And when you see others gain success through your coaching, through your help, it's more powerful than you seeing your own self gain. Be excited about it. Like this literally wins in 2 ways. Not only you helping others, but you're also feeling so much better, so much confidence in yourself as well.
Okay, so you mentioned on the last episode, and I don't have I think it was like 239 high fives or something like that. Steve Nash would give, pouring into others, cheering them on, and then just passing them the ball, pouring into others and saying, no, you got this shot and you got this opportunity and take this. Obviously, it's clear in the basketball world. And I think pouring into others is one of those great statements that everybody says, yeah, right, I'm going to pour into other people. Give me some real life. Give me some, like, pouring into my partner, pouring into my spouse, pouring into my kids, pouring into someone at work. Give me some examples of how you, the audience, can go pour into someone and be purposeful about creating this confidence through pouring into others.
I love it. And let's talk about spouse. I have an amazing wife. She is just on every single level, way cooler than I am. But it also comes down to like when I'm very intentional about, and I just call it the word cherish, where I literally look at like it's a pedestal. I'm going to put her up there. I'm going to put her needs before my needs. And every time that I'm really intentional about really pouring to her and what she needs, And I find myself having more joy. I find myself not having as much stress or as much worry. Like literally, I have just given myself put her before me, and I end up feeling better about myself. So it's that win-win that we're correlating with. And same thing with the people that you work with. Like I say, at your office, and you don't necessarily like the people that you work with, and you don't necessarily like being around them as much. But if you pour into them, everybody has something at some point good inside them. If you pour into them and show how much you care for them, that's when it's what I say it, pour into others without expecting anything in return. And that's when everything starts coming back to you. So it's the notion, the understanding of when you start giving and you start caring, like really like not just detaching yourself from the results, and that's your joy is not on the results, but when you start literally just giving and pouring into others, like more than you could even imagine is going to come back to you. It really is, but you have to take that step of, hey, I'm going to actively pour into the people in my life and the people that mean the most to me.
Okay. Number 6.
All right. Number 6 is confidence through what I call choose your second method, or it's confidence through a Q word. So I have my NBA players come up with different Q words. So one of my players, his Q word is literally unshakable. So when things are going crazy and things are offbeat during the game, he says the word unshakable and he comes back to level, to even par. Or if
you called that a Q word?
Yeah, Q word. So it's kind of like the movie Inception, where there's that top that spins, and every time they see the top spin, boom, it kicks them back into a certain level. It's the same type of concept. It's a Q word that they'll be able to say. They'll constantly repeat it to themselves. So even when things are going great, crazy good, say that word, they stay level. They stay on even keel. And so we all can create these own words. And I have the people that I work with as far as just salespeople or whatever it might be in your profession, just everyday people is you can have these words. If let's say your kids are going crazy or your spouse is going crazy, just say this word and it brings you back. It kicks you back and okay, everything's okay. I'm going to get through this. I'm even keel, instead of having this all just basically suck you in. And why I call it to choose your second too, because this takes it to another level, is with my NBA players, there's a shot clock in the NBA. It's 24 seconds long. And you can see the shot clock at every point throughout the game on each side. So I have my players pick a number, any number that they want. So when they see that number, it triggers subconsciously in them that, okay, things are okay. Let's say my number's 16. So I'm going through the game and I see that 16 up there. Boom, it triggers back. Oh, I'm even keel. I'm okay. Everything's going to be fine. Same thing for, let's say, anybody at the office. We always have either a watch or we all have an iPhone on us at some point where we're seeing this time, and we can pick a number. You can pick between 1 and 60, and you'll be triggered back into this confidence of yourself in this choose your second Q word. And if it doesn't work that time, you have 59 seconds and it's going to come back again once again. So you get that other chance. So it's really about just being able to be kicked back through words or numbers or visuals back into that even keel confidence.
It's a love that you brought that up. I was just thinking the other day about how too many people get way too down on things. And at the same time, David, they get way too up on things. I mean, people are like telling me when stuff's going bad, they'll find the one good thing and they'll hang everything they've got on it. And they think they're doing great because they'll focus so much on this is awesome. And then sometimes it's the other mindset of everything sucks because this one thing sucks. So you're saying this Q word is something that they can say, or it could be an image that they pick, or it could be a number that they pick, something that they're going to see that's going to just, boom, take you from too high, too low, and always kind of reset you right back into that middle. So you realize I'm not as great as I think I am. And then again, you also can realize the world doesn't suck as much as I think I do.
That's absolutely it. Yes.
All right. So Dave, I'm not shy to ask the questions. What's yours?
My keyword is actually unshakable. And I gave it, that's why I called it the unshakable.
The example was you were giving me your own.
Yeah, I was. And I mean, one of my NBA players, he took that as well. He's had a great year because of this type of mindset development, this confidence. But literally mine is unshakable. like I'm feeling like I'm overwhelmed or I'm stressed or too much, yeah, I'll say unshakable. But I mean, I also have some other ones too. Like one of mine that I love is full plate. And that's meaning like when things are getting overwhelming, like I'll say full plate, bring me like, okay, I know that everything that I'm going to do today is already on the plate in front of me, and I'm going to get done whatever's on that plate. And I don't have to worry about getting extra stuff done. Like I'll have a time that I can shut things off, and I don't have to worry and stress about the things I didn't get done because I have that full plate mentality. And another one that I love too. So I'm just going to keep giving you, like so I don't just throw them, like, don't just get like 5 of them right away. Get one that works that you love. Get another one that works that you love in a different situation. And another one of mine is Jesus pace. Like Jesus literally went through life and got so much done, but was always just chill and calm. Had time for everybody.
It was in slippers or flip-flops or sandals all day.
Yeah. Because I find that as a struggle with myself. Like I'm on such a schedule. Like I want to get things done that if somebody starts talking to me, like I'm just like, how can I get out of this conversation as fast as I can? Instead of giving them the time, they might need that word of encouragement or just that 5 minutes to talk to somebody. So that's another mindset that I just try to slow myself down.
All right. Now I'm going to give everybody one right now. I mean, no, I'm not going to sell you on something. I'm not going to trap you on something. I'm going to give you the number idea because this is what's just hitting me as you're saying this, David. I want you to think about your address. And maybe take that first digit or that last digit, or if you've got something that fits on a 60-minute time in your address and grab that as your number. Because then, boy, think about all the times you're going to come home and you're going to just see your address up in front of the house. And now all of a sudden, my last digit of my house is an 8 or something like that. Now I'm going to see an 8 and it's just going to remind me, hey, before I walk into this house, I'm not the greatest in the world. Everything's good, but everything's not overwhelming. I'm right here. I'm even keeled as I come walking into this house, ready for whatever's on the other side.
Yeah, that's good, man.
Five more cents for you, David. 5 more cents on you for that one every time you want to use that. So
that's really, really good.
We're going to be talking after, as I said. I'll just claim all these in credit. All right. So we've got 6 done. And hopefully, again, folks, you're taking your notes out there. Give me number 7. We'll talk about 7, and then we'll recap the list for everybody and wrap this one up.
Absolutely. So 7 ties it all together. 7 is confidence through preparation. And it's what I call relentless consistency. Like you can do all of this stuff one day, and that's cool. Maybe 3 days, 5 days. But if you do it every single day, relentless consistency, preparing, the preparation that you put in, that is when you're going to start living in this what I call this lifestyle rhythm, where it's just, that song that's just so fluid and smooth that you love. You're living in this type of rhythm. And it's all based on all the preparation that you put in. Like you can find, like let's say, for example, that you're going to take the ACT. You're going to take some kind of big, important test. Now, you've taken this test 9,000 times before you actually step into that room. Are you going to have more confidence because you prepared for it?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like I find myself that in the speaking world too. A lot of people, they make the mistake of they just get up there and talk. Like they just think that they have their notes. But man, my first talk that I gave to a big company where they're paying me way too much money to get up there and speak for an hour, like I was super nervous before going up there. Now, another point is, hey, you embrace those nerves. You tell those nerves to bring it on. That's kind of like you flipping that vocabulary we talked about earlier. But I knew that, like, I gave that talk literally probably 120 times to myself in a mirror or my wife or my speaking coach. Like I'd given that talk so many times, and I could stand up there and know that I've done this before many times. I'm prepared. There's a lot of confidence that goes into that. So it's about understanding that this preparation, all these hours that you've put in, these unseen hours where no bright lights are on or anybody's watching, this is where the confidence comes through. And it's through doing it relentlessly, consistently, time after time, day after day, 1% step after 1% step.
You take a rest day?
You say, do I take a rest day?
Yeah. I think do this again and again and again and again and again and again. And we hear the stories, but then there are coaches that'll say, look, you need a rest day, right? You don't work out 7 days a week. You need a day to just put your feet up and turn your brain off and all that stuff. How do you balance, and I don't necessarily believe in balance, yet how do you balance relentless consistency with not burning yourself out?
I love it that you said that too. One of the chapters in my book is balance is BS. Like I believe in being all in on something. Like I don't want to be 80-20 on loving my wife. Like I want to be all in. I know obviously there's some differences in situations there, but yeah, I definitely take a rest day, and I see the rest day as a recharge day. It's recharging my batteries to be able to perform at a higher level for those 6 days. So one day a week, and mine is Sunday that me and my wife usually take off, especially we're able to get through this routine now during this coronavirus time that my day is Sunday, where I know that I'm just going to detach from phone, from email. I'm going to let my mind rest. I'm going to recharge. And these next 6 days, I'm going to be able to get more done at a higher rate than I would have if I got burnt out and just kept going and kept going and kept going. Burnout is absolutely real. And it's something that can really just derail us from where we're trying to get. And an interesting thing is that everybody's familiar with like the 10 commandments and like thou shalt not kill and everything. And everybody agrees with that. Like, yeah, don't kill somebody and all that kind of stuff. Don't adultery. But there's one that everybody always looks down on. And it's taking 1 day of rest. It's taking that Sabbath day. And it's really cool when you get to that point of like, hey, this 1 day a week, this is like a holiday. Every week I get a holiday. Maybe I'm eating the foods I want to eat, watching some shows, relaxing, chilling. But it really is so important to build that in, because if you don't build it in, you're probably not going to do it. And you're going to get caught up in wanting to do email or trying to get that one step ahead that actually is taking you one step back because you're not taking the time to recharge and rejuvenate.
So you're relentlessly consistent for 6 days in work and those other things, and you're relentlessly consistent 1 day a week and saying, I'm recharging, I'm plugging my phone in so that, I'm building up my energy. And then there's got to be situations like, as an NBA optimization coach, those guys are in the bubble right now and they're playing for the finals. That's got to be no, you throw out that rest day, you push through, but when it's all said and done, you can take 2 weeks as rest day to do that balance that doesn't exist.
Absolutely. And that's such a good point, because there's going to be times where we have to just go and we have to grind for multiple weeks on end. And that's okay. But know that there has to be a season that you can, or a week or 2 weeks that you can kind of you relax. Like that's why with NBA players, the guys that I work with, I won't even work with them at all. I won't allow it to happen a month after the season. They have to at least take a month off, because it's a wearing season on them, and they need it for their mental like capacity to continue to get better. So yes, absolutely. If you have to go hard for 2-3 a month, then be able to make sure you build in time to be able to recover and rejuvenate.
All right, so here we go, folks. If you weren't taking notes for some reason and you want to quickly go, I don't want to listen to the whole episode again, give me those quick. Here we go. Get your pen, get your paper. I'm going to recap the 7 steps for unshakable confidence. 1, confidence through comparison. Remember, when we're talking about comparison there, we're talking about someone you want to be, someone you can see yourself becoming. It's not comparing, I'm not as good as them. It's comparing, here's what they've done, right? I'm going to find out from David, how did he sit down and write this book so that I can go about writing mine, or whatever it's going to be. Number 2, confidence through a strength focus. This is focus on your strengths. We all have them. Don't believe that you don't. Don't sit there and tell yourself you don't. We all have strengths. Figure out what yours are. Confidence comes by focusing on those strengths. Number 3, confidence through redefining our vocabulary. So it's changing some of the words we're saying, and it's changing what we believe some of those words mean. It's okay what other people think the words mean. Doesn't have to be what we think the word means. Number 4, confidence through creating your own highlight reel. So we've all had highlights. We've all had those great presentations, those great sales, those great vacations, those great moments with family, put together that highlight reel. Can you do that 1 minute where you just let those highlights flash through your eyes so that you can then go relive those and remember that stuff and recreating that? Confidence through pouring into others. That's having that service mentality, right? How we're going to serve people as we walk in. You never know. David said it on the last episode. You never know who that one, you might only pour into one person that impactfully, but that person might pour into 1 million people. So you then have the opportunity to pour into so many. Number 6, confidence through choosing your second method, or that cue word that you were going to have for yourself to bring yourself back to a, balanced we'll say center point there, not too high, not too low. When things are going really, really well, maybe you need to remind yourself. And when things are going horribly, maybe you need to remind yourself. And then number 7, confidence through preparation and having that relentless consistency. Because if you can be prepared, we all know how much more confident we feel when we have prepared again and again and again. You remember going to get your driver's license. You were either nervous because you didn't prepare enough, or you walked in there knowing, come on, I dare you to ask me to parallel park because I have practiced this and prepared for this day. All right. So, David, we just ran your 7 steps for unshakable confidence. Fantastic. I mean, we should probably just get together again and do another episode because I'm sure you've got other things and I'm sure you're ready for it. And we will absolutely make sure we stay in touch. Yet before I let you out from this one, I'm going to ask you the same question I asked last time. You just gave us 7 great things. And it might be you want to recap something. It might be you want to refresh something. Or maybe it's something else that we didn't talk about today and we haven't had the chance to talk about yet that we know we want to leave our audience with just that one thing that's going to give them that thing. You did it in your book. You keep giving us the blueprint. You keep telling us, do this, do this, do this. What's the one thing you're just feeling on your heart right now that you want to tell our audience and share with them that they should do for the growth they're looking for?
Yeah. What I want to share is that every morning when you wake up, you can vote for yourself. And I know as the election comes up and everything we hear about voting, but vote for yourself. Vote for who you're going to be that day. You get the chance to start a day new every single day when you wake up. You get the chance to live in either self-doubt or self-confidence. And you have the power of that superhero power of choice to be able to vote for yourself, vote for who you're going to be, vote for the steps you're going to take forward, vote for this confidence and this self-awareness confidence that you're developing. And also know that nothing will happen overnight. If your goals, if your dreams, if everything happens overnight, they're going to burn out quickly because you haven't built the foundation. So if things aren't working out for you right now, if things aren't going as fast as you'd like them, that's great. They're going to happen, but stick with it. Stick with those 1% steps and stick with voting for yourself every single morning.
Love it. Thanks so much again for taking more time with us, David, and sharing with our audience. Everybody out there, we hope that you've walked away from this episode just a little more confident. Make sure you share this episode with those that you know could use some unshakable confidence. Maybe it's you that they're comparing to. Maybe they need to know what you're listening to and the stuff that you're putting into your head, such as the Win, Make, Give podcast. You can always send them to winmakegive.com. And don't forget to join us in our Facebook group, facebook.com/group/winmakegive, where we will talk about this because we want to know which one of these 7 is the one that you're going to start working on the most. So join us in the group where we can have the conversation about that. Until our next episode, remember, folks, wash those hands. And as always, do good.